Good morning, everybody. Happy after Christmas. This is always this weird time of year between Christmas, Boxing Day, and New Year's where you don't know what day it is. Nothing much is really happening. You hopefully don't have to work too much, but it's that time. Anyways, as people roll in, thanks for tuning into the Fireside Finance live stream. It's always great to have everybody here. As people roll in, I just want to thank everybody for joining. And also, if you're watching this on the replay, we go live 8 a.m. Pacific time to about 8:45 Monday to Friday. So it'd be great to have you join live. If you can't join live, the replay is always on the channel, and you can always check it out at a later date. So as people roll in, I've got my coffee here. Good morning. It's going to be a quiet news day. I figured I'm not sure how many people are actually going to be around this week. We'll see who rolls in. Hopefully the regulars will show up. It seems to be we see it, chat's coming through. So we'll get after I sip a coffee, we'll say good morning. There we go. Good morning, Jason. Always good to have you here. Welcome. Coffee in the snow. No snow here, thankfully. Everything turned to rain, and now it's flooding in places. I was looking at some of the news in the Lower Mainland. And it's a big king tide. So the tide is very, very high, coupled with all the rain. It's if you look at some of the pictures and some of the news, it's pretty crazy. I think it kind of happens every year around this time. But just lots of rain here. All the snow is gone, thankfully. So I'm going to go do a load of pick up some groceries after the holidays. A little later on today. Still relax. It's still in that not vacation, but time off mode for the most part. So it's like chores and get organized. Good morning, Brian. Morning. Good morning, all. And MC is here. Welcome, MC. Always good to have you here. Thanks for tuning in. MC, I did try to pick some good news for you today because we always seem to go to bad news. So I do have a couple things of good news, I would think, because it doesn't look like we're getting that. It doesn't look like we're getting that Santa rally. I think it's like a Santa rally, but upside down. So we'll see how we go. Hopefully everybody had a good Christmas, holidays, whatever you celebrate, all that kind of good stuff, and at least had some time off to relax. That's kind of what I did over the past few days. Didn't really do anything. Watched some Netflix, watched some movies that I'd seen before, and just kind of hung around and didn't do anything. Had a couple naps, and it was all good. But I did do a few videos. So if you haven't caught up on the channel, I did an update to my portfolio over the weekend, so that is now posted up on the channel, so you can check that out. Obviously, lots of red in there, not looking that great, but got that out of the way, and then just kind of working on some other things with the channel. Some more, I think 2023 for me is going to be back to basics, and so it's been kind of doing a lot of reading, a lot of a bit more research that we should all be doing, and just basics of investing. Because I think it's going to be 2023 is going to be that year where we have to really stick, I'm going to be really sticking to my plan going forward, and not trying to do necessarily anything too smart, and just stick with it. I think that's going to be the year that we have to just kind of grind, and hopefully everything will pay off in the long run. If we can get through this year coming up. It seems to be, sorry, I don't mean to be so dour and negative, but that it just seems to be what it's going to be. It's going to, I think it's going to be a good opportunity to build, and I think that's the way that I'm going to be going forward. So for MC and for everybody else, again, welcome. Don't forget, hit that like button. We'll jump into the news. We'll start with obviously we'll talk. We'll just pull up a little bit what the market's doing today. Obviously, everybody comes on for that, so we can check that out. Let me just share my screen here. We started off looking like we were going to get a bit of a bit of a rally, but it hasn't really been paying off. But anyways, markets were closed in Canada yesterday for the holiday, so not a lot happening, and I don't think a lot's happening really anyways. I mean, I'm not like I'm a big investor, but I mean, I'm not planning to buy anything this week at all. Just waiting till next week to do my next deposit, just slow and steady. That's kind of me. So they started off kind of this morning a little bit higher. Yesterday was not a good day for people if you own Tesla. I have a little bit of the Tesla CDR in my portfolio. Not a good day for Tesla. If we can read actually in here, we can go down to Tesla. But first, it was down like 11% yesterday, which it's the lowest close since August 2020. It's down like Tesla's down, I think 70% from its high, which what I read. They're talking about suspending productions a little bit in Shanghai, in the Shanghai factory over their COVID-19. So still lots happening out there, that's for sure. So down 70% from its November 2021 all-time high. So interesting on that one. Do I plan on buying more Tesla? Yes. But something, again, I'm not going to jump into just to buy a dip, that's just me. But I did read here the market, the U.S. and global market is on pace for the worst drop since the 2008 financial crisis. I do remember that. I wasn't heavily invested at the time, other than my some of the stuff I had at work at the time. But yeah, so we're kind of in that ugly period. But enough of the bad news, that's for sure. Let's pull and kind of find some, I don't know, I found some kind of good news. Some of it's channel related, but one of it is kind of market related a little bit. I follow, let me pull up here on Twitter. And there we go. So MicroStrategy, Michael Saylor, big Bitcoin person. He has definitely some interesting interviews. Sometimes he can go a bit out there in terms of when he gets talking. But his company MicroStrategy, they purchased more Bitcoin, 2,500 more as of 12/27. So did a buy yesterday, I guess, or were purchasing it over the past month. So they now own 132,500 Bitcoin, worth as of right now, 4 billion, just over 4 billion, at an average price of 30,397. So he's down because Bitcoin is obviously trading around 16 something, I think, around there, close to 17,000 US dollars. So down, but he's a holder. So interesting, always there. So he's buying. The price actually went up a little bit when he kind of posted this, but it's come back down again. I did find that interesting. So that's I think some good news for MicroStrategy, that's for sure. And in terms of my investment with Bitcoin, we always did kind of talk about a little bit. I just do my small dollar cost average every day of that on Shakepay, and then transfer it off to my I have a wallet and carry on and just kind of get it and forget about it. And that's kind of the goal for probably the next, hopefully, 10 years, 20 years. I'm not putting a ton of money into it by any means, but just kind of a bit of a speculative asset. So figured better to own some than none. And if anybody always has any questions, I mean, I was talking just a little bit before how I'm not buying anything this week, but I was kind of looking a little bit. Banks look like they're on sale today. So I don't know if anybody is buying anything today. Obviously, always let me know in the comments if anybody has anything to do, what if anything they're looking at, or they purchased, or are they tapped out of money from shopping. I know with the Christmas sales on afterwards, there's lots of Boxing Day sales. I was inundated with emails for Boxing Day sales, and from all looks of it, I mean, the news always kind of reports it maybe looks more than it is, but all the lineups everywhere, for shops and all that kind of stuff. But it'll be interesting to see if people are actually were people just getting out to go just to get out, wander around, or were they actually buying? We'll kind of just know soon enough once the numbers come in from Christmas and Boxing Day. We'll see. A friend of mine, she was out shopping yesterday, and she messaged me that they were going to all these places, but they didn't really buy anything because there really wasn't anything they saw that they wanted. So maybe everybody's kind of in the same boat. They were just out there just to get out and see if there's a deal, but ended up not buying anything. Hard to know. I didn't purchase any Boxing Day stuff, except I did buy. I got a Amazon gift card for a gift, and I looked on for Amazon. I buy my coffee there, so I buy Kicking Horse coffee, and it was on sale for $9.99 a pound. So I was happy about that. So I have a whole bunch of coffee coming. I bought it. I mean, I'm going to drink it, but I bought it more than a few pounds because it was such a good deal. So I used my gift card to buy coffee. So that was a good buy. I was happy about that. So that's in the. Although Amazon's, I think, still really backlogged with shipping because it's going to take a while to get here, but that's okay. Yeah, and that's what I saw, MC. A lot of the cars, it was the same. It was the same in the Lower Mainland here. There's a big kind of outlet mall, outdoor outlet mall in Richmond by the airport here, and it was the same thing. It was like lines and lines of people like backed up trying to find spots, that kind of thing. Although here, boxing the day after boxing, yeah, day after Christmas, Boxing Day was actually a really really nice day. The sun was out. I actually got out for a walk, went down to the beach, and it was really nice weather. So I think that was part of it too. People getting outside because I know the outlet mall in by the airport is outside, so people were, I think, getting some nice because the snow had all kind of gone away, and people were just nice getting outside. That's, I think, maybe the one of the big things. For coffee, I drink it's Kicking Horse coffee. I should post it on the channel. I could post a link, but I drink the it's called Three Sisters. It's like a blend, a medium roast blend. It's my favorite one. I pretty much like all of their, but beans. I'm not picky. Sometimes different ones are on sale, but that's the one. That's my favorite. That's my favorite one, and especially at $9.99 for a pound is kind of a steal, because it usually, I mean, sometimes it can go. Usually, sometimes it's on sale for $12.99 or $13.99 a pound. Because usually in the store it's about $16, $17, sometimes even $18. It depends. They must have to get rid of it at certain times. I guess that's probably why the price does fluctuate. Because I even notice in the stores it can sometimes go on sale. So Three Sisters. It's like a blue label. It's good. It's my favorite, anyways. And Tesla. So you're looking to buy Tesla, possibly buy it at 90 to 95 range. Yeah, I think that's what probably a lot of people are doing. I think if it does go down more, I probably will add a little bit. But again, budget-wise, it's not really in my budget for it. But sometimes opportunities are too good to maybe pass up if you're looking at something, or if you've been looking at something for a while, right? It's definitely, I don't know, it was up a bit today, actually. And let's just see where it's sitting right now. Yeah, it's come back down. I think it was up about 5 or 6% this morning, right off the bat. But now come back down. It'll be interesting to see. I think once, I mean, they should have earnings coming out, I think, next month. But it'll be interesting to see once Elon figures out all the Twitter stuff and he gets back. People, I think, just want him back at Tesla. So we'll see what happens when that's the case. Yeah. So your dad works at Loblaws. So we have superstores here as Loblaws, same thing. He says the staff will stock the shelves up and any excess will put in the clearance shelves. It's a bit odd since it's the exact same product, but on clearance price. Oh, okay, interesting. So they must just, so you have to look in the bins and stuff, right? For certain sales. It's interesting. Like I do most of my shopping MC at Superstore, Loblaws, and but certain things I will actually buy at Amazon, because it's great because you can look online, because I do curbside because it saves so much time. I can just do my order on my phone and just it has my list that you always buying generally the same stuff for the most part, and I can have it on the app, but you can look at the prices, right? And so sometimes you can actually go, but some of the stuff I do get on Amazon, a fair bit of food. It kind of seems weird to buy food on Amazon sometimes, but non-perishable stuff can be actually quite cheap. Well, obviously coffee, one example, cheaper. I've also bought rice on there because it's cheaper for the exact same thing. What else have I bought on there? Sometimes like household stuff is cheaper. Cleaning supplies and like those dish pods for your dishwasher, that kind of stuff can be actually can be a lot cheaper on Amazon. So if anybody's looking to just kind of save some money, you can do it by just kind of shopping around and looking different places. That's for sure. Tesla inventory. Yeah, this is, I think, MC. So Tesla has now too much inventory. I'm not sure if it's true, but I called them not being able to meet demand a few quarters ago. Yeah, that was kind of the case. I think a lot of people, but that was everywhere, right? Like that was a lot of car manufacturers. Like you just in 2021, you couldn't get, for whatever supply chain chips, whatever the reasons being, right? You couldn't get you couldn't get really pick of the litter or pick of the car, a lot of the car, or you were waiting a long time for it to show up. You could even see it in dealerships where you're driving, you'd drive by a car dealership. It wouldn't matter what one, and it would be like an empty parking lot because there wasn't really anything available. So that's what drove the prices up, and then drove the prices up on used cars, which from what I've kind of been reading, and again, I'm not really I'm not in the market for a car. But in reading articles, MC, from what I understand, used car prices are now coming down, and inventory in kind of is starting to build up. But that has to do with interest rates too, right? If obviously you're taking a loan on a new car, the interest rates are way higher, right? Because you used to be able to get a car. I mean, there's probably still deals in terms of certain vehicles for subs, if they're subsidized somehow with the rates. I don't really know how car finance totally works, but I've seen ads for certain ones, 1.99% financing for a certain model or something like that. So there must be ones they're trying to get rid of or whatever else. But I think on average, I think the interest rates on car loans are up quite a bit, like everything else, right? Goes with every other kind of the debt interest is more expensive now. So, but I have kind of seen on Twitter a little bit people mentioning like Tesla was giving discounts for people that would take their car shipment early. So I guess that's maybe one thing if they took delivery sooner. As opposed to in the new year. That was one thing I saw in a tweet. So someone literally, I think, ordered their car, because you can order them online, and ordered it and had it within, if not the same day, pretty close. So I guess that kind of maybe goes to that. The thing with Tesla too is the manufacturing. I mean, I know they had issues a couple of years ago with manufacturing, right, with the Model 3, but maybe they're also improving their manufacturing as they go. So that obviously helps, right, with inventory. So interesting times. But I think it's not just Tesla with more inventory. I think it's probably a lot of the manufacturers just building up from people, because people are scaling back on those kind of discretionary purchases, right? And a car isn't necessarily discretionary, but certain models are probably more discretionary than others, where people might, instead of buying a new car, would look and now buy a used car or that kind of thing. So time will tell what's happening with Tesla. So if it goes down to 90 or 95 for MCM, you can let us know if you do pick up anything. And a couple more people rolling in. Good morning, Candace. Always nice to have you on the channel. It's funny, I was laughing, Candace, yesterday on my channel. Someone left a comment on your channel must be rubbing off on people, because someone left a comment on one of my videos saying banana bread. So I have to reply to them still to let them know they've got the wrong channel, but they somebody messaged that on my thing. I thought maybe you were sending people over here to leave random comments of banana bread on random videos. And morning, Dan. Good to have you here. Welcome. Candace and Dan, we were just kind of talking about we were talking a little bit about Tesla, but also the question was kind of what if anybody has bought anything, or if they got their eyes on certain things today. That's what MC popped in about, looking at Tesla between 90 and 95. So parent ordered a new RAV4. That's Toyota, I think, and the wait was 8 months for regular model, 18 months for hybrid. Yeah, well, hybrids are popular, that's for sure. I would probably, I mean, I'm not in the market for a car, but I would probably look at them for sure as my next vehicle. I mean, I eventually will need one. Right now, I don't need one, so it doesn't make sense. But I would probably look at that, either hybrid or electric, I guess. Probably lean towards more hybrid, just because of location and stuff like that, and the kind of things I like. Like I do like to go camping and stuff like that. So you're not always near, although that's kind of changing, but you're not even sometimes near gas stations. So that would be something to kind of consider, obviously, with what your driving habits and stuff are. I don't think I would benefit necessarily from the call. Like I don't really drive that much. My car's really good on gas, so it's like I don't really spend a lot of money on gas anyways. And I think the bad idea is about the banana bread comment. I laughed when I saw that. Oh, good job. There you go. Because we were just mentioning down at the very beginning. It's down. I think from the peak, it was down. It's down like 70%. There you go. Nothing wrong with selling. Yeah, those ones I think. So MC hybrids. Yeah, it's a lot of the stuff for building these kind of things, right? Lithium, copper, stuff used for batteries. I think a lot of people are starting to kind of look at because we're going that direction. Whether it's going to be as fast as they're the governments want it to be. Wasn't there a thing in Canada they want? I think is it by 20? I'd have to find the article again. By 2030, they want them to be all electric or something. I think that's a bit optimistic, but we're definitely seeing more. I mean, you can drive down or walk down the street or wherever and look in a parking lot, and a lot of cars now are hybrid or electric. Not just Tesla, but there's the Toyotas. You can see the Kias, the Hyundais. There's even the Ford. Everything is a lot of hybrids and also full electric. So they're kind of out there. I think that's kind of the way they're going. That's for sure. Just have the price has to come down still, right? banana bread for every banana bread rally. I haven't had banana bread in a long time, actually. I don't buy bananas that often because they usually go brown. And then what happens is I think, oh, they're going to go brown. I'm going to save them and put them in the freezer, and I'll make banana bread or give them to someone to make banana bread. And then I never get around to it. And I end up cleaning out the freezer, and there's old bananas that's been sitting there for a year. So banana bread, there we go. EVs. So Ontario used to have one. Yeah, there's different ones, I guess. I think there's Canadian ones as well, if I'm not mistaken. I'd have to really look, and I should actually kind of dig into that. Maybe, I mean, obviously, I would look at it more when you're getting a car. I think it has to depend on the price of the cars and that kind of thing. But I think they all have some kind of rebate, even still in Canada, like a federal rebate. And every province is probably different in terms of what they possibly give out as well, right? I think there is one in BC. I'm just not sure how much it is. But not looking for a car. It's nice to drive a new car. It's nice to drive a new car for like the first week, and then you're like, oh, okay, whatever. It's just a regular car again. But if there's there's rebates. Let me just see if I can Google something on EV rebates. BC electric vehicle rebates. So oh, they do have them in BC still, MC. Let me share this. So they give you up to $4,000 for the purchase or lease of a new. This is in British Columbia. Battery electric vehicle or extended range EV. So $4,000 for that. If it's a hybrid, you get up to $2,000. I don't know what always says up to. There's this fine print. Which vehicles qualify? They have to have certain ranges. And if the car is more than 55 are not eligible for incentives. Over 55,000. So you have to look at the prices, and then there's a federal rebate still. So here's the federal one. What is it for federal? $5,000 for Canada. So depending where you are, but it depends on probably. You have to look at the fine print. It always sounds great on paper, but it's getting a car that fits that price range and everything else to make sure you get all the full rebates. And chances are, to get the full one, there's always a catch, right? It's never you can never get anything and all of a sudden you're getting money. It doesn't work like that. So you have to always look and see. It's probably like the base model of the base, something that you're probably not going to want to get. And then by the time you add up the certain features that you actually want in the car, that it goes over that price range and you don't get the money. And I haven't seen the new Prius yet. I'll have to look at that one. They always kind of look kind of weird. I was never a huge fan of the Prius looking cars, but I have to look and see what they did some of the new ones. I know they've redone some of the, I think is it the Civic? They've redone, I think, kind of redone everything. I do like MC. I do like those the Hyundai ones. Those kind of look neat. They're kind of like the crossover kind of platform, and then the Kia. I think they share the platform on Kia, but they both kind of look. The bodies are different. Yeah, I had a family member that had a Prius actually, and they sold it. They sold it actually at the perfect time when prices of cars were quite high, and because it was getting to the point where they had to we'll have to eventually replace it. Obviously, it was a hybrid. I forget what the cost was. Going to be expensive to replace them eventually, and they actually bought a RAV4. Go figure. So it went from hybrid to this gas, not a hybrid or a RAV4, but a used one. But don't drive as much. They don't really drive as much anymore either. Kind of retired and that kind of stuff. So it's kind of like doesn't necessarily make a lot of sense sometimes. Oh, that's good. Hey, so up until 2018, it was 14,000. So I could see more incentives coming back, like higher ones coming back, right? If they really want to push EVs, the incentives will come back more. I think I read by 2030. I think I could be wrong. Someone let me know in the comments what Canada's saying they want to have, everything EV or as much as possible by all new cars by 2030. It'll be hard to say. And that's exact. Oops, sorry, I missed a comment there. I'll pull yours up. Retired. If you lived in a walking city, you probably would not even own a car. Where I live now, you kind of need a car because it's a bit far, obviously, to walk for groceries and that kind of stuff. But when I lived in Alberta and in Calgary, I had a car and it literally sat in the parking lot for a week. Like I would basically drive it to keep it running for the most part. You know what I mean? Like I would just make sure it started. So every once in a while I'd go down there and start it up and go for a little drive because I just didn't go anywhere. And everything was so close to walk around. So if you do live in a city, obviously wintertime you drive a bit more depending where you are. If you're in if it's cold or in the city, instead of walking somewhere, you probably would drive somewhere. But I still don't drive a lot. Not much. I don't commute to work obviously anymore, so that's the big thing. I know because the gas bill goes way down. I mean, a tank of gas for me will last over a month. So I don't, whereas commuting before used to be every week and a bit, you'd be putting gas in the car, right? So, but cars are, we'll get back to, sorry, I skipped your comment there, Dan, but owning a car, it is expensive. It's a pain because there's always something, right? Even mine, I don't drive it much. It's good though. Knock on wood, it's been good. You get the oil change. You have to, you get oil change. You got to get new tires. There's always something to do it. If it's a new car, a new car, the new cars I think are pretty reliable for the most part. But if it's like mine's been great, my little Mazda, it's not going to win me any races, but it gets me around, and it's not very much, other than doing brakes oil changes and new tires, it hasn't been a big expense over and above the usual cost, right? And it's almost, like I say, it's almost paid for. Basically one more month. February it's done, so that's kind of nice. I keep looking at that going, that's almost done. And so that'll be nice to finish off that. But they are expensive. Then you still have insurance. Although the insurance, if you're not driving a lot for work, depending what province you're in, my insurance isn't terribly priced. And EVs, yeah. So if it's under warranty, yeah, you're good, but it would be expensive. That's what no one talks about. That's the hidden kind of thing. But I think they kind of, it's like they do it so because so many people change cars so often, right? You have a car for 3 or 4 years, and then people start to get new cars. It's not the smartest thing to do by any means, but obviously, if the cost is outrageous to repair or replace something in an EV, it's like cheaper to get a new one, which sounds kind of crazy. And that's what always happens, right? The warranty was 140, but they made it. They just made it into, yeah. That's what always happens. It's like when you just pass the warranty, it's that's when something ultimately breaks. I had in my car, I have the seats. One of the seams in the seats, it's ripped, stitching, and it was literally just after the warranty for interior stuff. But obviously lots of wear and tear because you're in and out of the car all the time and whatever else. But it's like it's kind of annoying. But other than that, it's kind of like, yeah, you just get used to it. So I have kind of like just have to tape it or something up, but that's what always happens. So MC is 20 years old. When it changed, so brakes, oil changes. Yeah, I think if you do the regular maintenance on stuff, it really obviously helps. I'm overdue for an oil change on that note. I have to go and get the oil changed, but the body will, yeah, that's the problem. And the winters can be bad, right? Depending where you live too. In Canada, the winters and everything aren't good for cars long term. But I mean, 20-year-old car can't complain if you've had it for that long too. You've got, I think you probably got your use out of it. Mine's just coming up on 5-6 years, I guess. Yeah, and it's still fine. It's got lots of life in it. Although it does have, I shouldn't say it has rust, but there's a spot where I was camping on the bottom of the like below the back door on the underneath. There's a kind of, and I kind of was parking and I hit a rock I didn't see, and it put a little dent underneath, like kind of underneath the car. And so that's going to be like the start of the rust is going, but it was my mistake. So at least it wasn't brand new when I did it. Yeah, walk where you can. Yeah, that's true. And that's so, yeah, expensive. 99% of the car. Yeah, they are expensive, even if you don't use them a lot. You know, even if they're paid for, they still cost you money. So, but kind of an unnecessary evil, I guess, to have. Like, I mean, I won't sell mine. I'll just keep it. I'll be paying, insurance and gas maintenance. It still adds up, right? Especially when you have maintenance that's, a bit of a surprise that you weren't necessarily planning on, for something, because ultimately something breaks, especially as they get a bit older. But and I did have one more kind of good news came to the channel for Christmas. It's not monetization yet. Candace left a comment on this post, but we'll share. Let's share it because it was kind of a nice little milestone. If I can find it, there we go. I always have too many tabs open. The channel hit 125,000 views Christmas Day. I got that in the mail. That's from vidIQ. It's like a plug-in thing for YouTube. But so the channel just over 125,000 views, which is awesome. And then Candace did comment, you have to be near the 4,000 watch hours now. I am getting there, Candace, close. It seems to it's elusive, but it'll be there. I think probably I'm hoping, like, my birthday's the end of January. I'm hoping by my birthday. That's kind of, we'll see if it gets there. It seems to go ups and downs, because last year, because it's a rolling average that gets you. I think I slacked off a little bit last year over the holidays. Hence more videos this year coming up. So getting more diligent. But that was kind of nice to see. So that came into my inbox on Christmas, which was nice to see. Oh yeah, the Saturns did have that. They had like the Saturns. So the Saturns used to be great because it was like on the bottom. Yeah, the bottom kind of portion, third of the part was like plastic kind of stuff. Yeah, when I when I backed into the thing, it was kind of underneath, but it was like the edge, so it kind of bumped it up. Kind of it's not the frame, it's kind of the frame, but it's hard to explain. Obviously, I'd have to draw it or take a picture, but it's annoying. It heard a crunch. It's not. I thought I hit the side of the door, but so when I looked at it, I didn't actually see anything, and then I didn't actually notice it underneath until I was washing the car. So, yeah. Yeah, thanks. Congrats. That's awesome. Yeah, no, thank you. And Dan, thank you. Yeah. So it's getting up there. It's always fun. It's always fun. Obviously making monetization will be nice, but it's not the goal. It's just kind of fun to come on and learn. It's not the part of it, but that'll be nice to kind of offset some of the, be able to sock a little bit of extra, hopefully, away into the TFSA is the plan. If I'm able to get a couple bucks a month, I don't know. I mean, 125,000 views is awesome, but in the big picture of YouTube, it's very small for stuff. But it's okay. It's just fun to do these channels, and it seems like every week and every stream, there's usually some new faces. So it just builds. It just takes time to build that up. That was fun to see that come in. That's for sure. And then on the thing with the stream coming up in the middle of, I'm waiting for, I did order some stuff for the YouTube studio to improve things. I got a new light coming. I've got a new microphone coming, and then I've got a new small tripod to connect my camera, because right now I'm just filming on my computer webcam. But I'm going to kind of rearrange things once I have a microphone and the tripod, so I'll be able to connect my other camera to kind of make the field of view a bit better, because I find if I'm looking at comments, I'm not looking at the camera, so it'll kind of clean things up a little bit in terms and make things look better. And then I'll probably change the background around a little bit, that kind of stuff. So lots of kind of fun kind of things happening. But it had to come. It's all coming from the States, so it's I think it's in Texas right now or something like that. But so that will be here. It says middle to end of January. So it'll start to kind of improve things and kind of get there. So that will be fun. And you can never have too many tripods. I have a little one, Candace. I do have a little one, but it's not quite. It's like one of those ones I need one like just a little bit. I have a regular size tripod that I use, but it's too tall for what I need on my desk. And then I have a little tripod that's too short. So I could do it, but it'd have to like stack it with a ball. Like it's just I need to have things that are kind of organized and tidy, because if it's kind of, I guess the one thing with YouTube is if it's set up and ready to go, it's easier to do. Whereas if you have to move stuff around all the time to just film something, it makes you not want to film. So if you can have as much setup as possible, it just makes your life so much easier, because you can just literally flick a switch and you can go. So that's kind of where it's at. Just take some time to figure out exactly what you kind of need, because I never used to do these before, so I had no need for that kind of stuff. But going forward, I still want to continue on this, so got to kind of improve it as we go. So GICs, yeah. So GIC rates EQ the other day, and the yield curve is fairly inverted. It is. The 2 year is still, it's like the highest I think it's ever been. It's kind of scary. So the 1 year is the highest yield of 5, and then it goes down from anything longer than a year. So it's kind of, yeah, it used to, I think the 5 years come down a little. Like if you look at what they're paying right now too, the 5 years come down. So the 1 year is a little bit more attractive, but it obviously comes down to time. Where's it going to be in one? Like that's the whole thing. Where's it going to be in a year, right? That's kind of where everything kind of goes with that. But GIC rates are still really good. Nothing wrong with putting money into a GIC, that's for sure. On that note, MC, I've started to kind of not into GIC, but I mentioned in my last video, I'm going to be starting to put a bit into the purpose PSU. Sorry, I can always mix it up. PSU. No, that's the Canadian PSA. I always mix up the US one and the Canadian one. PSA.TO, the purpose high interest savings ETF. So I'm going to be putting a bit into TFSA just in cash on that, and also looking at probably pulling over to some of my, like I have some emergency fund and stuff, but I'll put that in. I have an unregistered account that I because it just keeps me organized in terms of what we need. But it probably go in maybe something like that. But that pays about. You're right. I think it's I think it's about 4.59 right now. So that's kind of nice. Even just to have that, in something that's a bit more. If you need to cash out, right? With that, you can obviously the GICs locked in, or there's cashable GICs. You have to really look at what your GICs are doing if you can get them, cash out. You never know if you need, especially if it's for a savings account that's a certain emergency fund, that kind of stuff. Just be careful that you don't lock it into something that you're going to possibly. I mean, GICs, if you cash it out, you probably won't lose. You won't lose anything, but you won't necessarily get any of the accrued interest as well. If you cash it early, it's gotta watch that. But I think everybody kind of knows that's watching this. 4.85 is pretty good until March. That's pretty good. Where's that with? I know there's different promos everywhere. Kind of, you just have to kind of look if you're willing to move your, chase around. But again, if it's a few percent extra, like it used to not really make sense. If you're making 0.1% somewhere else, it wasn't a heck of a lot of point to move it from place to place to chase. People did it. I didn't see the point necessarily, because you were really making no interest anyways. But now if you're going, for example, if you want to compare Wealthsimple, it's 1.5%. So if you can get it somewhere that pays 4.85 or 4.5, it's worthwhile to kind of start moving stuff around. I think Wealthsimple has to get up and I think increase their save interest rate. Hopefully they should. It's been a while since it's been at 1.5. They got to work on that, I think, to get some money in there, because you can kind of find better than that pretty much anywhere right now. But 4.85 is good. That's awesome. Yeah, that's a question, right? I think a lot. I haven't dug too much. I should do some research for an upcoming stream to see how much is actually going into GICs. I'm going to assume it's probably quite a bit, because 5%. It's like we haven't had these. It sounds so crazy, but we haven't had 5%, guaranteed savings since what, 2008. Before that. So it's actually kind of good to actually see your savings account, if you hopefully have one, actually make interest. We haven't had that for so long. The flip side is higher rates if you're borrowing, but that being said, yeah. And that's probably, you're probably right. The market coming down from this time last year probably would have been better just putting everything in cash. Yeah, hindsight, right? Even with inflation, you're probably right. Or I guess put everything into oil. I think the oil's done quite well this year. I was looking at article MC yesterday, reading. I think was it Chevron? I think is up year over year like 34%. So there is places. It's just picking that right one. But hindsight's always 20/20 when you're looking at stuff. That's the hard part, right? To know where things are going to be going in the new year. It's really difficult. That's why I'm kind of just sticking with my, we talked to core couple of ETFs for the most part going forward. And then also putting a bit into something that's paying a eat cash basically to have sit there, because there's nothing wrong with making 4.6% guaranteed on something for the most part. That's why people are throwing excuse me. That's why people are putting money into GICs, because it's like you can relax, and know you're making guaranteed 5% ish, depending where you are, or even just like Dan was saying, it's just in a regular savings account paying almost 5%, 4.85, and you don't have to be stressed about it. So somebody said, somebody said, the year ahead will be interesting, I think, for sure. And we'll be here to kind of go through it and see what really happens. I think, all signs pointing to a recession. It's almost like we're kind of already, it's such a weird time, with everything. So we'll have to see where that goes, where the year goes. Anyways, 8:45. Good chat today, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. That was a lot of fun. I was worried coming on if we'd actually, how many people were going to be around today. So it's always hard when you put on hit that button to go on, worrying that if actually anybody's going to be tuning in. So I do really appreciate it. I say that a lot, but I really do. It's a lot of fun to do these. I wouldn't do them if everybody wasn't here, that's for sure. So it does make things easier. It makes it so I can learn a lot as we go. And it's I still I love creating the other videos, but these are a lot of fun because you can actually get some interaction, and it's not just me telling people what I'm doing. It's learning from other people, which makes it really worthwhile to do. That's for sure. And I think you've probably nailed it, MC. I think it's going to get worse before it gets better. Although we've been saying that for a while. I've been saying that for a while now, but it's been an ugly year. It really has, and I think it's going to be, and like you said here, your prediction. Everybody else, let us know in the comments if you have prediction, right? I mean, this isn't necessarily a prediction episode, but it's always good to hear what people are thinking. But if MC, so guessing they'll go down quite a bit in the first 3 to 6 months of 2023, and then grind higher up. Yeah, and it might be a slow grind, right? Recessions are always weird. Technically they're not saying we're in one, but then you always hear the flip side of that is always the narrative is we're coming out of a recession. It's like I thought we were, it's just can be a confusing time. But I think 2023 will probably be just as confusing year in terms of what we're doing. But for me, again, just sticking to the plan, and that's kind of what you have to do to benefit, and not make any crazy changes for the most part. That's what at least for me. So we'll see how that will hopefully again, everybody. The big thing with we're talking about recession. The big thing is obviously it's not as bad. We hopefully get out of it if it's coming, or if it's here. Is it here? Is it? It's just such a weird time with the way with jobs and everything else. Right now that hasn't been impacted. There has been layoffs more on the tech side to start with right now, but I don't know. We'll have to see. We'll be here as we go to go through it, and we'll see what happens for 2023. So on that note, coming up 9 o'clock, I do have a little tiny bit of work to do today. Back to the grind, but a couple things to catch up for me just before the day, to do a bit of work. So if you're off, enjoy the rest of your time off. If you're back to work today, don't work too hard. We'll be back tomorrow. It's obviously Thursday tomorrow, so we'll be back for the next couple of days. The markets are open, so we'll be here, and I'll try and dig up some more good news. Is always good. And I'll try and track down GIC stuff. We can maybe talk about that tomorrow. It'll be a lot of fun. So before you head out, don't forget, hit that like button. Always nice if you hit the like button, helps the channel out. Thanks for watching, everybody, and we'll catch you tomorrow.